Fisher Medical, Morgan Niels, and you're from where again?
Denver, Colorado.
Denver, Colorado. So you flew in all the way just for this.
Yeah.
So welcome.
The only thing similar to Denver is the traffic.
Well, we heard that there's some deals coming out of Colorado, so that's great. So let's hope that this will be another
The economy's doing better there, I think, than elsewhere. So
Yeah.
that's good.
Okay, well,
So-
just take whenever you want to.
I appreciate the invitation to speak. I'm going to set my iPhone so 10 minutes. I'll know when 10 minutes is up, hopefully, if I can see. Appreciate your attending. I'm going to talk about a medical deal, and whereas the questions come later, if anything I say, like medical techno speak, which I'll try not to use, just raise your hand and say, what do you mean by that? I don't want to leave you with a question mark about what I've said. So this is a breast cancer imaging deal, and the reason we focused on this is it's a huge market, and as this is the worldwide incidence of breast cancer, you'll notice it's over twice that of colorectal cancer, lung cancer, and cervical cancer, all of which have screening technologies. In Asia, breast cancer is growing rapidly because the incidence is going up as they adopt our Western diet, I think. What happened in the last 10 to 15 years is a conversion from film mammography, remember the dark room with chemistry, to digital mammography. I was involved in that whole transition. And what I'm showing you here, I'll echo later on with the slide, because my belief is that we will disrupt this entire field of digital imaging, which you'll see at the end of 2013 is about 12,000 machines in the United States doing digital mammograms, and whereas a decade ago there were 13,000 machines doing film mammography, there's been obviously some productivity. There's about 40 million screening mammograms done a year. Why? Digital was slightly better than film. Not much better in the DMIS trial, which was a trial to test screening mammography digital versus film, funded by the NIH. This is a new modality. It doesn't exist today. It's basically breast CT, but you all know CT and MR and ultrasound because you probably had some of those exams. This is disruptive to the extent that we're using new technology, faster computers, new algorithms, along with our knowledge of the breast imaging marketplace, which is quite extensive over the last several years, last decade at least. First of all, we're dealing with high-resolution breast CT at the same dose as mammography, and that's critical because we cannot add to the dose, we want to lower the dose. For women, the most important thing is no compression. Turns out 25% of women get their first mammogram and they don't go back. And if they don't go back, they may get breast cancer and have a higher mortality than had they been screened. The problem of two-dimensional imaging, which is full-field digital mammography, is it's like a kaleidoscope of tissue where all you can see is a two-dimensional image and overlaps and hides things and creates false positives because the doc has to be sure that it's not cancer. It's also the most litigious profession in medicine. Failure to detect breast cancer is the #1 lawsuit against doctors. I won't go into the details of the technology, but it's patented, it's breakthrough, and it's very unique, and that is really the basis of our opportunity to disrupt this market. The other thing that we did here is we recognize that reimbursement as we've known it is no longer. In the future, equipment like this, which is expensive, has to be not only effective but efficient, and that means productivity. And what we've done is we've provided a product line which covers breast CT screening, stereo biopsy, compression diagnostic mammo, 3D staging, which means to look at the extent of the disease once detected in local extent in the breast, and with MRI and 3D biopsy of enhancing lesions that are under 3D, which is a problem that is out with MRI. A picture of the MammoCat breast CT. You'll notice the detector, her breast is hanging pendant, the detector spins around and nothing touches the breast. And I'll show you a short video in a second that will give you a better idea of how the system operates. This is now going to show about half-speed video, so I'm running this at, it'll take 30 seconds, but typically it's a 15-second acquisition. And what you're seeing is a scanning technique where the X-ray beam is actually 8 millimeters at the detector, and we're running 3 frames a second of projection views. So right away, we're fewer views than normal CT, and this allows the breast to be imaged, and then the other breast would be moved over, and she would have the second breast examined. This just, I'm going to run this for about a minute and then cut it off because it's a longer video, but I wanted to show you this because it's all about the product design and the changes in how mammography is currently done. Mammography is currently done with a woman upright, standing or sitting in a chair. We've always been prone with our stereotactic biopsy, but being prone allows a lot of advantages. The tissue can fall away from the chest wall and not this way. And when they're doing compression mammography, which this machine will also do, this allows the breast to be positioned more easily. It's computer controlled by the tech with what we call a dead man switch technology. If anything goes wrong, she lets go of the switch and everything stops because you're moving a patient around some pretty sophisticated equipment. This CC means cranial caudad, meaning this view. There's two views in normal mammography. What I'm showing here is conventional mammography for diagnostic mammography, very high resolution at 25 microns. And this picture, if you've ever seen a mammogram, shows the capabilities of the imaging detector. The family of the product here shown with stereotactic biopsy, which is the first iteration of this product, which we plan to get in the clinic end of this year and get FDA clearance early next year under a 510K. You'll notice that the physician has a console to do the imaging and direct the biopsy. This next picture shows a close-up of an actual needle breast biopsy where the breast is compressed. We've designed this to convert quickly and seamlessly between full field digital imaging, breast CT, and stereotactic biopsy so that it's productive in not tying a room up for half an hour to convert it over. And that's one of the issues with what's going on with breast cancer screening, is it's not effective. We have 4 rooms of equipment involved with, including MRI. All of those rooms could be done with this one machine, which means a big hospital may have multiples of these machines, and smaller hospitals otherwise. The algorithm is critical on the reconstruction. This is a head CT, and this is our global license from the University of Chicago. Typical 1160 views, projections. We take 10% of those views, which means 10% of the dose, and reconstruct the head CT with the same data. And what that means is 90% dose reduction. If any of you are neuroradiologists, I always tell doctors, you'll see they're the same, I know what they're going to say, because the one on the right actually is a little better, sharper. Not that that really means anything, it just shows that the dose can be dramatically lower. So this is a new era with multiple procedures in one room of equipment. If you visit all the hospitals around here, you'll see different rooms for different procedures. In this one, we're providing a high-resolution mammography, diagnostic mammography, and stereo biopsy, 3D for full breast screening, contrast staging under 3D, and region of interest in 3D at very high resolution, 12.5 microns, which no one's ever even attempted that, but we can do that as a spin-out. And this will also replace MRI in low-risk women, or in high-risk women that are being screened. This is the echo of the other chart, and why I believe that we'll see the same thing happen. The film market was $1 billion in installed base, replaced by a $3 billion installed base for full-field digital. At our 450K ASP, we use this as a $5.4 billion installed base. It's not the amount of the dollars involved, it's what the effectiveness of the technology can bring. The revenue shown here, $350 million by 2020. This assumes by about 2018 that we're 30% market share because there'll be competitors coming in. And you probably can't see this slide too much in the back, but essentially showing that we're currently selling 4.6 million this year projected non-equipment, routine x-ray equipment that we're importing from Italy, and a heart stimulator which we're going to divest. So we have revenue, we have an ISO certified factory as well, and you'll see that the numbers are quite high because the gross margin's high, and this is a business model that we've used in our prior company, so we understand it well. So in summary, breast CT provides essentially multi-procedural capability with this design, not only attacking the efficiency, but also, most importantly, the effectiveness, i.e. finding more cancers and calling back fewer women. The Fisher brand is well respected in this space. Most radiologists and breast surgeons know us, have had our equipment, And our first market we attacked with the stereo system is about going after 500 tables that are still in use from our prior company. The tomosynthesis efforts are difficult. They increase the radiation, they require compression, and double the time for the radiologist to read, and there's no reimbursement. They are finding a few more cancers and cutting the callback rate a little bit, but it's not very efficiently done. The first version of this male cat, as I mentioned, is in the clinic end of this year. So 10 minutes and 5 seconds.
Yeah,
You're on.
great.
Okay.
This is good. All right, thank you. Thank you.